the recording? Yes, the recording has started. Great. For a time plan, has everyone seen the time plan that we have today? We have 30 minutes time of free discussion, free conversation, exchange of ideas, and also introductions for the new people that were not here last time. And then we have 40 minutes for Ulisses. So he will have a 20-minute presentation about his research, and we will have 20 minutes time for discussion. So if there's any questions, if you want to go deeper into the topic, we can ask Ulisses hopefully a lot of interesting questions. And the same will go also for Amaury. I don't see him online yet. I hope he will join us soon. And he will talk about his research about evolutionary time, which is also very interesting. So also he will have 20 minutes of presentation, and we'll have 20 minutes time to ask questions and to go deeper into his research. At the end, we will have a 10-minute energy exercise altogether to connect. And that's it. And I see now that Jeff is here, which is great. And I would like to ask Jeff if he would like to maybe introduce Isaac a little bit and his work. Maybe after 20 minutes of discussion, would that be okay? Yes, that we have first 20 minutes free discussion, and then at the end you could introduce your project with Isaac in 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure thing. That'll be fine.
Yes? Okay, great.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. And what else? Oh yeah, we have good news that we have now an official email address for the project where we can, like an email list, where we can converse with each other. It is thebridge@reprendentia.org. I'm going to write this in the chat also for you guys. So if you have questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, feel free to send this to this email address. I've put it in the chat. You should be able to see it. And we also sent, or Paolo sent you an Excel spreadsheet with all the researchers and their areas. And it's not complete by any means. It's constantly updated with new people, with new interests. So it's always worth, to check back on that Excel sheet. And also to look for updated versions that we send to you. Because hopefully we're constantly expanding with more and more participants. And one more thing, to not cause any sound interference or connection interference, it's not recommended to use Skype at the same time with BlueJeans. Because BlueJeans is a rather demanding program, so if you have Skype open, maybe it would be worth to close Skype to have a better experience. So if there's no questions regarding today's program, I would say let's get started. Is there anyone new here who was not part of the meeting last time?
Yes, me, Yoli.
Okay, hello, Yole, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself to us?
Thank you. Yes, hi. Well, I don't know how you usually do it, but my name is Yoli Medeiros. I'm Brazilian, currently living in London. Sisters with Rodrigo Medeiros, probably you know him.
Yes, Rodrigo.
Because of him and Patricia, I was introduced to conscientiology. It's a bit hard for me to say that in English. And I'm not exactly, I don't call myself exactly a researcher now. I've been doing some readings and was happy enough to go to Baldos Vieira's, some of his speeches in the past while he was in Curitiba, where we are originally from. And well, I'm back on the topic. I'm hoping to understand a bit more and get more involved with the studies as well. Thanks for the opportunity. It's really interesting.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Great to have you here with us.
I'm new in the group as well. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello, Leonardo. Welcome. So nice to see you.
Okay, I'm Brazilian, living in the Netherlands in Maastricht. I'm studying a Master of Health and Social Psychology here. My third week here, so I'm new in the Netherlands as well. I'm starting this study, so I'm European, but just 3 weeks here. Good to see you.
Welcome to Europe, Leonardo. Great to have you on this continent.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also new in the group. My name's Jeff Lloyd. I'm from New Zealand. I've been an international guy my whole life in terms of conscientiology. Since '96, I suppose, in reality. So I'm a little bit old about it all, really, but my enthusiasm only continues to increase for the work. What can I say, really? I'll tell you about Isaac later on and the efforts that we're trying to do to help things be more international. So that's it, really. But I live in Brazil now. So Leonardo used to be my old frequent dinner partner with our respective partners and so on. And so now we have to go without him, flying solo, but still surviving, mate. But Leo, we miss you here. But it's good you're over there. So that's it. So I'm looking forward to hearing the ideas of different people. You know, we don't get to hear enough and share enough. So it's good.
Anyone else who is new? Who has not been in the meeting last time and who would like to introduce himself?
I think I wasn't in the last meeting. My name is Marlon Daron. I live in Istanbul currently. I'm Brazilian. I've been living in Istanbul for 3 years now. And I just completed the teachers training with Melanie and Alki and Regina and among others. And I'm here to hear good news from Brazil and good updates.
Great. Welcome, Marlon. So nice to have you with us. Okay. So did everyone have the opportunity to introduce him or herself? Yes? Great. So basically now we still have some time for news. What's the latest news in Brazil? What's the latest news in Europe? Or any new projects that you would like to share, new ideas, questions. So please feel free, whatever comes to your mind, to share with our community.
I can quickly just let you know about some books that are coming and should be available very soon. So there's going to be a new edition of Our Evolution printed with a changed, different cover and so on. And also, we should have PDFs available very soon. They're with editaries already for Projectiology in English to download for free. 700 experiments is going to be available for free download as well as a PDF, but also there's an ebook produced which I've seen the condition of now, and it looks pretty good even on a cell phone and so on. And PENTA Manual is already available for free download as well. So there's these kinds of resources are starting to appear, and there's going to be lots more books and lots of other languages. But for those of you who have worked with translation, which is probably almost all of you, yeah, you know it takes a while. But in terms of the book stuff, that's the updates we have at the moment, and you know, we'll go from there.
Yeah, hello, I'm Jörn. I'm here in Frankfurt, and I can give 2 debates next Saturday together with the APEX International. We will have debate on bioenergies and ectoplasma and consensual basement. We will have 1 day, and we will have 20 participants here from all over Germany to debate a little about this. There are some new people coming and some people who know consensuology yet. So next Saturday we will have this event.
Jorn reminded me of one more thing. I'm going to be in Florida on the 1st of October, I think it is, Saturday or Sunday, giving a course there. And if people are interested, we might be able to organize a Reaprendencia to broadcast that online. So it might be something that's available for people as well. But I need to check with the organizers there and so on.
That's great news, everybody. It's amazing. Also, like what Jeff said, that so many books are now coming to be online, you know, for free available as a PDF. Also English material, so we'll be able to give material to new people, to new interested people, without having to have the printed book at hand, which is incredibly important for Europe, at least, and also for the rest of the world. And so great that there will be courses, and also I'm really interested, Jan, to hear about your experiences, about the courses that you will have in Germany. And yeah, so maybe, I don't know, Marlon, would you like to tell us about your experiences that you had with the online courses you gave, or the group in Switzerland and Germany?
Yeah, well, there's this group of Brazilian people that they live between Germany and Switzerland. We have currently 10 students, and the teachers are Catherine and Eduardo, me, and Juliana. And well, Juliana gave her first class 2 weeks ago. Last class was Eduardo, and I gave my class 4 weeks ago. It was about bioenergies, a bit of laboratory. Because we learned from the platform, we had the teachers training via this same platform via Bluetooth, so it was all online. The course is also being held online, so we use the same platform with Blue James. It was interesting, not many changes from what we did in our teachers training, but interesting to see how the platform and in a more, let's say, real environment, with proper not those students, right? Not trainee students. So it was really interesting. It was interesting to see the connection that the students had between them and between us, the teachers. So it was quite interesting to see that. And of course, as always, there was a lot of help, a lot of astrophysical help during the course, during at least the class that I gave. I could tell we had a lot of astrophysical help to do this course with them and everything. So it was very good, very interesting. And they have very different levels of understanding of conceptuology. Some of them have even written the pages and everything. Some of them are brand new. So the mix is very interesting, because sometimes we get not difficult, but hard to explain questions, and sometimes we get very easy to explain questions from the student. So this is very, very interesting about the mix of these groups. It's a good experience. And as we did in our teachers training, at the end of this course that they're having, and it's all in Portuguese because they're all Brazilians living in Europe. At the end of this course, there's going to be a meeting as well for graduation of the final 3 classes.
Okay, great. That's very interesting. Thanks a lot, Marlon, for sharing the experiences with us. Just one small administrative thing is that we have 17 participants right now, and I can only see 9 maximum in front of me. If some of you would like to say something, I won't see if you raise your hand, so please just open your microphone and interrupt if there is any question or any comment. So, are there other news that you would like to share with us? Any topics you would like to raise, questions, suggestions for the project? Okay. So maybe if there are no other comments, we could ask Jeff to introduce a little bit what Isaac is doing, what kind of projects you have ongoing, where you could need maybe a little help.
Help always is welcome. So what's Isaac? Look, we created Isaac after the thing with IAC happened, because we didn't want people to feel like they didn't have a place to connect to conscientiology. And in addition, there was sort of some extra physical inspiration around the idea of stimulating IC's institutions here in Brazil to become more international. So have their websites in English and other languages, see what courses they could give online, see what they could do to expand overseas and get in contact with intermissivists, or be more available to intermissivists who, as we all know, are everywhere in the world. So we took that approach as well. And then we have our own projects, like we want to put a whole conscientiology course online for free so people can do like self-service. Isaac intends and is aiming to have a really good website in all the languages we can manage, that basically acts like a meeting point for conscientiology, a way for us to show what all of conscientiology, not just a little niche of it, not just a little fraction or a little segment of it, but all of conscientiology. We want to expose as many methods and techniques and as much information as possible on the site, and let it be a place where people can do like a lot of, again, use the phrase self-service. You know, they can follow their own nose and their own interests. Their interest might be health, so we want to present resources about health. So things with conscientiotherapy, things with conscienciometry, show what books and materials are available, show what courses are available, and link to the institutions, you know, so to be a place where any institution that's doing something international can put information, and intermissivists can find it and follow their nose, you know. So we don't want to be like controlling anything. We want to sort of making things open. So that's some of the stuff we're doing. Some of the projects we've created partnerships with, excuse me, are with editaries. So editaries asked us to manage the translating of the books, which we've been doing for just over a year, and we're starting to see some results now. And on that point, if anyone wants to assume coordination of translating books into a given language, maybe your native language, that would be really great, because one of the difficulties we have is I speak English and Portuguese, but I don't speak Spanish, and so when I go to write emails in Spanish or communicate, it's not so good. Same for obviously German and so on, but luckily most of you guys speak English really well. But if you want to assume that kind of role, there's space to do that, and you'll be very welcome. Another project we're doing and working on is with the Tertularium, so in partnership with CIAC and the Tertularium, to translate the best moments videos that they select and they broadcast on the Tertularium's YouTube channel. We're writing subtitles, so we're subtitling all of those things so you can actually see what's going on and connect better with all the ideas and things that are exposed there. That's due to be released last week, but it's been delayed, but probably should be this weekend, the guy said, but you know, no guarantees in these things, but it's very, very soon. So there'll be, you know, we've done about 26 subtitles so far, something like that. And each video ranges from 3 minutes up to 15 minutes. It varies. So there's that stuff. And again, if you want to translate those, for example, into German, we can give you the English translation if you need the English, or you can just go Portuguese, German. But the English is good because of what? It's easy to, most people translate from English to German. And we've already done all the writing and the timings of the stuff. So when we do it, it takes like an hour for 3 minutes kind of thing, backing and forth and getting all the timings right and so on. But for you, we can give you the subtitles archives, the files, and then it's just translating text. You translate maybe 100 lines of text. You know, it's really not a lot. You'll probably be able to do it, I don't know, I'm assuming maybe in half an hour for like 10 minutes of video. And then we can very quickly put those into the system as well and get them launched and stuff. So there's that kind of thing. I've got something else. Oh yes, there's another partnership we have with Encyclosapiens. So you see with Isaac, we're very much about intercooperation. We think we're much better if we work together as opposed to one IC or one individual trying to do everything and be everything. We think we bring all of the aspects of conscientiology and all the ICs and then let them do their work, you know. So the other thing we're doing is translating the actual entries for the tertulias. The 26, initially it's a pilot project with the 26 entries that were written and have already been translated into English. So there's 26 tertulias that exist that have a verbal overlay of, in English, a translation of the thing. And we're going to translate the actual entries for those tertulias. And then you'll be able to read the entry and listen to the tertulia and get a better feel for how the thing works and so on, and hopefully stimulate even more of you to write entries for the encyclopedia. So I don't want to talk too much. That's kind of the main stuff we have at the moment. There's plenty of work in there. So if anyone is curious, I know many of you already are translating. Marlon and Crystal is great with translating, and Jorn's doing things as well. So, you know, there's plenty of opportunity if you want that kind of work. And of course, as I said at the start, the help will be welcome, and we can make the wheels turn a little bit faster. But there's plenty of books coming, there's plenty of stuff coming, but at the moment you don't see anything. But there's lots of people working all around the world to try to bring more and more material out of Portuguese into English, usually initially, but you know, also Japanese and Arabic and all sorts of different languages are works in progress. But it's a lot of work, and but everyone's committed and just working away at it. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ping me or ask now if we have time. Melanie, you can control that, please. And that's it. Cheers.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Jeff. You're doing such important work. You and the whole team of translators. It's immeasurable. And also now with the subtitles, I'm looking forward to that very much. So does anyone have any questions to Jeff for Isaac or anything? Any comment? We still have a few minutes.
I have a question.
Yes?
Okay, a question. Jeffrey, you told about the projectiology in English. And could you tell us when do you think it will be available? For download, for in PDF, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. So, my friend, these are sitting with editors.
Question to him every time I met him. Yes.
For me, it's out of my hands. The PDFs for the 4 books, yes. 700 experiments, Projectiology, Evolution, and the PENTA Manual are all with editors and have been for about 6 months. And I give them a bit of a hard time, but I don't want to intrude them too much. So I say, you know, where are they? Where are they? And once a month, once every couple of months. And the last thing I got is, no, we're just finishing a new site, and it's because of that, and da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm trying not to be too hard on them, but they're there. So, but yeah, my friend, I can only ask them one more time this week and see how we go. But that's the latest I have. I don't know anything more, but yeah, I can only say it's imminent. It's if it's not this month, I might cry a little bit, and see if that changes things. But yeah, my friend. I don't have a definitive answer. If it was me, I've got the PDFs here. I'd put them in the Isaac site in the next hour and go, sweet, we're done. But I don't have that right. So I just play by the rules and see what happens.
Thank you.
Yes, and I've been also bugging Jeff, I think, for a long time about the 700s already, I think, approximately 2 years. So I'm sorry, it's not in your hands. So, but of course, everyone knows that you are, doing, coordinating the translations, in that. So I guess people come to you first to ask, when is the book coming? When is it coming out?
Yeah, no, I understand, guys. It's no problem. But what can I say? That's the status.
But hey, great. Thanks for the update. It's really important to know such things and why, for example, they take longer. It's good to have that understanding because otherwise people ask, but hey, I thought it's ready. Why is it not out? And stuff. So it's good to see, okay, there's a probably bureaucratic process behind that and maybe administrative resources at Editares.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I think it's nice if we try to. I mean, if it was me, as I said, I'll do it in the next hour. But perhaps there's other aspects that we just don't know, and the timing might be better if it waits. I try to console myself with those kinds of justifications for delays, because otherwise I get frustrated and go, well, what are you doing? So we have to find ways to de-intrude ourselves, and that's my particular way. And also, people have limited amount of time, and there's lots of other tasks that they're being called on to do as well. So we try to be understanding about those things. But yeah. Sorry if it's a little bit too consoling, and I can't say blah blah blah. But they're coming. So I can say really, trust me.
Great. Thank you so much. People, I think it's time for the first talk for Ulisses Schlosser, talking about his research and the work he's doing. Ulisses was also in Helsinki here with us. So was Amaury. So it's funny that this meeting, I'm the moderator from Finland, and our two researchers have both had very good experiences in Finland, I hope. So it's an interesting connection there. So Ulisses, please go right ahead. We are very curious to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you, Paulo, for the invitation. Right now, Paulo and Natalia, they are here sitting very close to me. So I may ask them for some help if I need. I ask you all help because I have some limitation with my vocabulary. But I think this is a very good subject to talk because language should not be a real limitation for us. Even when we have trouble, I think the most important is the intention to interact and to be useful in life, right? And this is maybe the issue that helped me to move ahead. And my first question was how to be useful in life with conscientiology. I was asking myself all the time about that. And 2 years ago, I really worked hard with this problem. What shall I do now? Today I am 55 years old, and maybe I will be alive more 20 years or 30 years, I don't know. So I feel that I am beginning a new moment, a new period in my life. So I decided to take this very seriously. Well, I am engaged with conscientiology for more than 30 years. I got acquainted with Professor Uvaldo in 1985, right? And since the beginning, I was very impressed with the possibilities of parapsychism When I was a child, I have a few phenomena, not much, but very early when I began to study the classes in the IIP in 1988, by the end of 1988, the projections happened, and I decided to take all that very seriously. And very early, I started to write and to develop self-research. And this movement helped me, I think, together with the helpers, it helped me to write a few articles, and I started publishing them. And this effort, this endeavor to publish, helped me a lot. Maybe now, I don't know exactly how many, maybe 9 articles published. And most of them are related to paraphenomenology. And this work made me decide to talk about projectiology and conscientiology, and to look for researchers around the world. But I know I feel that I am aware about the problem that we face to talk about psychical phenomena in the way we think in the consciential paradigm. It's not easy. Even when we talk with another person, for instance, from who studies paranormality or other lines, it's not easy. So I feel that it's a challenge to talk and to develop interaction in our situation with conscientiology. Because of that, maybe 10 years ago, together with a few friends here in Iguazu Falls, we decided to take this problem very seriously about the methodology in conscientiology, and specifically in terms of paraphenomenology. And so I started working inside laboratories here in the CIEC, experiments that I already had a lot of time and experience in my house, but really inside the laboratories, I had a more specific experiences. And those experiences helped me to put together new ideas and to develop the methodology we thought that could be useful to look for a new foundation and how to communicate the basis of projectiology. We know that we have the basis of self-research, but in terms of epistemology and foundation, if we think about the universalization of conscientiology, maybe our knowledge now is not enough. I think that we may look for to continue the work of Professor Vaulu. He started it, but it's a very big challenge to develop conscientiology for it to be more understandable in terms of global communication. I'm not talking about massification, right? Massification of conscientiology. It's a little bit different. It's how we have resources to offer the knowledge in conscientiology. We have this knowledge, but the communication, the language, and the procedures, I suppose that we have this task continuously. So we started this work seriously 10 years ago. And 2 years ago, we decided to present a proposition in an international conference in Finland. And the title of the conference was Paraphenomenological Methodology. When we came to this point, the communication about the subject, we thought that we have got a good level of communication, I think a mature scan, something comprehensible, understandable to communicate the subject. And we made a plan together with Professor Valdo Vieira, he was alive by that time, about how we should do it, how to go outside Brazil and try to offer conscientiology. Well, many people have tried to do this, this work, and maybe you all are trying to do that. Well, but I had this problem to myself, and I decided to look for contacts in universities. And before I arrived in Finland, in Helsinki, I went to Netherlands, and because I knew that in the Leiden University, and they had a very strong work about phenomenology. I knew that René Descartes, right, the pronunciation, he lived and he published it there. And the teachers, the professors in Leiden, they are used in a kind of deep epistemology. So I launched myself in a kind of challenge to talk with those people. So I spent 1 week in Leiden talking with professors there. And Professor Valdo, before that, he told me, and I could feel it, a very strong presence of helpers together with us by that time. And it was very interesting because almost everything that we did, we got success by that time in Netherlands. I could meet the right persons at the right moment, and I took with me the book 700 Experiments, right? And my own book, it was a dictionary, a draft, but it was ready. And I used those books to talk with the professors. And I had a very interesting experience because I got surprised because they were understanding the subject. And immediately in Holland and in Netherlands, I received invitations at first to write a book together with a friend of mine. His name is Rico Sneller. He's a professor in phenomenology in Leiden University. And he was, by that time, the vice president of an international organization which works with very hard problems in humanity. This organization is NGO, a non-governmental organization. And the basis is in Ottawa, Canada, and also in Netherlands. So this friend, Professor Sneller, he invited me immediately to write a book and to write a chapter about conscientiology in a book with the title Spirituality and Global Ethics. So this task is already done. Jeffrey, he helped me a lot to translate and to reveal the chapter. And now this book is it's almost ready in England. It will be published in Cambridge. And together with this first invitation, he invited me to participate in the organization. Well, but in the first moment, I didn't know what was that. So I refused. I wanted to know a little more about what was going on. So after a few days, I studied the situation. I accepted the invitation, and I sent to them the proposal of the chapter. And I used a few topics in conscientiology, and I used the word cosmo-consciousness together with the proposition. It was there. Well, when I wrote that word cosmo-consciousness, a lot of people who worked in the organization, they got interested on the subject. And they asked me to work in a new research about cosmo-consciousness and to write new books about that in the University of Ottawa in Canada. And right now there in the University of Ottawa, there is a budget to publish many books. This budget is dedicated to this organization. The name of the organization is Alternative Perspectives and Global Concerns. APGC is the name of the organization. All that happened maybe 1.5 years ago. Things changed, and now I am the vice president of this organization, and I'm responsible to spread the subject in Latin America and in other parts of the world. And something very interesting is that I work there as a conscientiologist. They know that. Since the first moment I presented myself as a conscientiologist, they know that I am a psychologist. But I planned together with Professor Waldo to say the truth all the time. So I don't feel myself, I don't know if I will translate it, if Jeffrey can help us, infiltrated, this is the word in English, infiltrated. That's it? I never said this word in English. So I am not acting, working as an infiltrated. I am explicit, you understand? So I am not an infiltrated guy. I work in this situation in explicit action. So this is very important to be clear. And I feel very good in this situation to speak freely. And for instance, in the last year, I could participate in 3 international conferences. And I could speak all the time about conscientiology. The first conference was in Helsinki, and Melanie was there. It was an international conference about consciousness, about the research of consciousness. It was the TSC, Toward a Science of Consciousness. It's a very traditional conference. By that time, I think that it was the 24th meeting. So it began in 1994 in the United States, in Arizona. And this year, it took place in Tucson. And in the next year, it will take place in China, Shanghai. So I don't know when it will be possible for me or for us to be back to present new works in this kind of conference, but I really have plans to present new results using protocols that we could develop here in Iguazu Falls. My dream is to develop those protocols together with other universities from other countries. Now we have contacts in Leiden, we have contacts in Tucson, Arizona. This should be the best. If the people from Arizona could come to Brazil to develop together with us the protocols and our original research, this should be great. This is a dream, but we have a lot of work in terms of diplomacy, integration. We need to talk very clear about our proposals, but this is a dream. This is a project, this is a dream, and this is a line that I work in terms of paraphenomenology. And when we have a good foundation to talk about this, I feel that anyone can hear us seriously, you see? So I could say that this point is in the basis of this kind of experience, to talk seriously about our foundations, not only to talk superficially about projectiology. This is very important for us to get a consideration. This is one part of the subject. I'd like to tell you another part of this whole situation about my life. Right now, I'm looking for a kind of alignment in my projects, in my life, a convergence. Everything I do in my professional life, I'm trying to look a point of convergence. So right now, see, I work as a psychologist inside a penitentiary. Do you understand that? With prisoners. You see, I work as an official psychologist for the government of Brazil. And I work with the situation for more than 10 years. Well, when I was a child, I worried a lot about the human rights, everything. And my mother told me all the time that it should be good for me to go to Africa to help people there when I was a child. But very early, I had the opportunity to visit other countries. And when I was 17-year-old, I had the opportunity to go inside a shelter from the War of Vietnam. Shelter is abrigo, right? Shelter, shelter, yes. And this shelter was in Norway, and near the city, near the capital, Oslo. And that experience was very significant for me. By that time, I was an athlete, and I was together with a group of athletes, and we decided to help that people in the shelter of the war in Norway. After that, I came to Brazil, and I worked officially by the first moment as a volunteer for our government, and I worked in the census in the countryside of Brazil. So I walked inside Brazil by feet or by car, visiting each house to interview people and to know the reality of people. In Brazil, we say this, we have an institution, IBGE. I worked for the IBGE to develop research about our people in Brazil. And by that time, I developed a new kind of vision about humanity. I could enter many different houses and find many different people in my country, not in the city, but in the countryside, you understand? So I had a very interesting experience when I found, for instance, very poor people, but very well educated. There was a time when I found a very old woman living alone in a very little house, completely isolated. And we asked about her family, and she answered that her son was an engineer in Japan. So I found a lot of different things inside Brazil. And I had this feeling to be together with people. And when I decided to work with psychology, I wanted to know what happens with people in reality. So I decided to work and to visit prisons. And at first, I worked with teenagers. And I had a very strong experience when I saw for the first time 2 children in jail, you see. And I decided to study those phenomena. And I had, by that time, I already worked with conscientiology. So I had a lot of very strong phenomena with me, energetic, all that. And I decided to take that seriously. And in a short time, I got engaged together with judges, with organizations. I had a very good friend, a judge here in Paraná, this is state of Brazil. And now he works in the Supreme Court. And we are partners, me and this judge who is a friend of mine. And because of this friendship and because of all that work, I decided to take seriously the problem of human rights. And I helped to create here in Paraná a committee for education in human rights. This is an official committee. I am part of the group of founders. And we worked to change a few laws in our state and also in Brazil. And because of that, I was invited to work as an official from the United Nations in Brazil for the Millennium Goals. In Portuguese, we call them Objetivos de Desenvolvimento do Milênio. In English, they were the Millennium Goals. They were established in 2000 until 2015. I worked with this issue for 2 years. So when I arrived in Netherlands, I arrived in this situation. I was a conscientiologist, and I also was a kind of representative from the United Nations. So I gave my personal card to my friend Rico Sneller, and because of that, he invited me. So I was a man who worked together with people inside prisons, and I used those knowledge to try to help society in a broader way. And I was looking how to converge the knowledge in paraphenomenology with that experience with human rights. So after those invitations, especially when I started to meet personally with directors from the United Nations, I could recognize that those people, they were different in terms of evolutionary level. So I started to see that not only among our friends in conscientiology, we could find people with expanded lucidity. So it was clear to me that the subject of expansion of consciousness should be useful to talk seriously with global leaders. And we decided to take this issue, this subject, and to write about it, and to expose this subject in an open way. For instance, in the University of Ottawa during a conference of the UN Habitat. It's the Department of the United Nations that take care of urbanization. So I was there last October, in the last year, to present a work about Paraphenomenology. And the conference was about the sustainable urbanization in China and Africa. And the people who was there were officials from the Chinese government and from many countries of Africa, and they were deciding how to deal with the budgets from China to build cities in Africa. And the knowledge, by that time, it works like this. The knowledge is transferred from the United States of America and Canada to China. This knowledge, they work together with universities, and China is helping with money and people to build Africa. And they also would like to do the same in South America. There are a lot of propositions from China to work in South America. But our governments here they have a lot of restrictions, especially in terms of corruption. But right now, there is a very huge program from China to Africa. And I was there presenting a conference with my friend Alioune Badiane. His name is Alioune Badiane. He's from Kenya. He's the director from the UN Habitat. And he was very interested in conscientiology. And he invited us to be in Africa in the next year, maybe to develop something there. And when the conference came to the end, we had some meeting with the people from China, and we are talking about which one should be the theme, the subject from the conference next year, 2017. And they came to me to ask questions. So I found that very interesting because I went there to talk about conscientiology, and I could feel that they saw that I was not a crazy guy. Because after that, they came to me to ask questions and to talk to me like a friend. So I felt very good because I started to talk about foundations in terms of paraphenomenology. And if you, Paulo, if you can send them, for instance, the presentation, there is a PowerPoint named Consciousness and Reurbanization. That was the PowerPoint we presented there. If people can see what to talk there in this conference, right? It's interesting. And the name of the conference was ICASU. ICASU. ICASU means International Conference on Chinese and African Sustainable Urbanization. The first ICASU took place last year. And the idea of the conference, the inspiration for the conference, in a very big part came from the organization, that one I told you, APGC. It's the Alternative Perspectives and Global Concerns in Ottawa. The president of this organization is Muslim from Iran. He's a Muslim. He is a Canadian citizen, and he is a professor in the University of Ottawa. He's a mystic person, religious person, but open-minded. And the APGC, it's an organization, this organization tries to put together different lines of philosophy, religions, and to put together different ways of thinking. We use there a kind of strategy that we call dialogical ethics, when different thinking, different minds could work together in terms of objective. So when I am talking with them, I don't talk about conscientiology. We talk about our objectives. So I am recognized as a conscientiologist, but I don't need to talk about that. The same, the Muslim people, the Jewish, they don't talk about their religions. We work together in terms of our goals. You understand that? So this is the way we develop our relationship. But when we write about our foundations. We don't deny our foundations. But when we work together, when we talk, we are on the same level. This is the way we develop our relationship. So right now, those people, they asked me to organize here in Brazil a conference about the problem of prisons in the world. As I work inside a prison, we consider that the prisons are a very hard problem in the world, and we don't agree with the policies to build more prisons. We like the countries that work to develop society, not to build prisons, but to educate people and to help communities to live with love and care, to take care of each other. So I think this way, and I found a lot of people that also think this way. So right now I have this task to organize this conference in Brazil. It will take place next year here in Iguaçu Falls. And together with this conference, we invited Professor Sneller, Rico Sneller, to come to CIEC to work together with us during a week for us to know his knowledge about parapsychism. He is a very deep researcher in terms of parapsychism, and he wants to bring together with him many researchers from Europe, from different organizations, for instance, from the SPR, from England, from Germany, to come here to Iguaçu Falls, to know our work in conscientiology, and this will be a kind of cooperation. And we think that maybe we may find a way to send students to Europe to develop research together with them, and maybe they will come to use our studies in conscientiology as a subject for their researches there in Netherlands, in Europe, maybe. This is a kind of dream too. So this is the perspective we have right now. So, and also to finish, right now in CIEC, we are trying to build an ambience to concentrate a kind of center of research inside the CIEC. CIEC is a center of research, but research is a little bit spread in CIEC. We need to concentrate this work in a new department. We're thinking and we are working about this. And we are trying to find people here who would like to take seriously protocols of research, self-research, group research with groups, and to develop results that we could present anywhere without being ashamed. To talk about conscientiology in a very good level anywhere. To talk other languages, to write in other languages, to speak Chinese, to speak Russian, Arabic, not only English. And in conscientiology, right now, I'm trying to be concentrated in this new project inside the CIEC. Leonardo likes this a lot, Paulito. He enjoys it too, and I know that CIEC made an invitation to him about that, and we are waiting for him to come and together with other people, but to build inside CIEC a very strong center of research. Something more, I don't know how to say, more precise, more scientific. But in terms of self-research, this is very important. And not using materialistic technology. We need to talk in terms of our paradigm. So I think that I talked a lot. I mixed a lot of subjects, but I don't know if in this way maybe you can know a little bit what I'm doing now, what I'm thinking now. I'd like to apologize if the subject was a little bit mixed, but this is the way I found to tell you the history. Maybe, okay? The time is okay? Yes, finished.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ulisses. That's really incredibly interesting, and it was also so nice to be there personal and see you presenting your paper back then in Helsinki. It was very important, and also there were great contacts made. And our next researcher is Amaury. So, Amaury, can you try to speak to us so we can see you?
Yes. Can
There you are.
you listen to
Welcome.
me?
Yes, we can hear you. Great. We can also see you.
Oh, good. I'm asking because I have serious problems with my hardware. My notebook with my PowerPoint presentation all goes burned. I don't know what happened, but now I'm in my smartphone, and if you hear me well, I think I can do from here.
Yes, we hear you very well. So sounds like a little counterflow for you this time, unfortunately.
Yes. It's the second time, so I will write it down to my self-research here. I think this theme of research is a good one for this time, evolutionary time.
Okay, so yes, we will do our best to help you and assist you if you have continuous problems, but right now it seems to be working fine. So please go right ahead with your presentation.
Okay, people. So good afternoon for everybody. I'm here to do a little conference for you in my research theme that is time parachronology. In fact, that is time seen by the consciential paradigm. So be very comfortable to ask questions, as if that the things that I put here are not clear. But we are going to have a time for questions at the end. Melanie, is that correct?
Yes, so the plan is that your presentation is about 20 minutes and there will be 20 minutes for questions and debate. But it's not dramatic if you need a little longer, but the plan is 2020.
Okay. I think it will be enough because there's too much thing to say, but let's do an approach to this thing. Well, the first thing is that time itself, the definition of time and nature of time is one of the most intriguing subjects in history of philosophy and science, and it's a controversial thing also. And since the first thinkers, the first philosophers walked on Earth, they are trying to make some assumptions on this, to do or to realize what is time. And since the classical philosophy, we can name here some thinkers that are devoted to this, like, for instance, Saint Augustine in the ancient times. In his book 11 on his Confessions, he asked things like that. What is time? What is nature of time? What God does in this field of time? What God was doing before the creation of the universe? And some people say that answer to that question that St. Augustine made, saying that he was creating punishment to people who make these questions or questions like this. So time is a very constant theme in the important thought of these thinkers. Later on the scientific revolution, we have also important names, important thinkers, important scientists dedicated to that, and to try to understand the nature and make his own definitions of time. And we have advanced in the understanding and the measurement of time also, because there is a specialty, the chronometry, that is the study of the measure of time. And this also, since ancient times, has advanced. With science, we have different approaches to the concept of time. We have, since the scientific revolution, the ideas of cosmological time. We have the ideas of geological time. We have the idea of biological time. We have the idea of psychological or internal time. So we have different approaches, different ideas, and we can call this a scale of observation. Since we have a scientist doing his research and interested in a specific aspect or characteristic of the time in his field, he made an approach to that reality of time. So we have many different approaches, and this is interesting because we on conscientiology, we have our approach too, based on consciential paradigm. We can speak of that. I will speak a little bit of this in a few minutes. But first of all, to understand that, I will propose an exercise for you all. I will ask a question about this. For instance, do you think that time is moving or passing by faster now, in our time, in the time that we speak here, or in the times of your childhood, for instance? Think a little bit about that. Do you think that time moves faster now, nowadays, or during your childhood? What do you think? What you, every one of you, think about that? What would be the question for you?
Now it seems faster.
It seems faster. But it's faster or just seems faster? What do you think?
I think it seems faster. I have a theory. It might be crazy, but I'll tell you what I think. The first time you do something, it seems like it always takes more energy and it always seems longer. So if you drive a car from one place to a new place, the first time it seems long. And the next time you do it, it seems much quicker, kind of thing. Maybe life's like that. The first time you do something, i.e. when we're young, everything seems longer and slower and more difficult. And then as you get older and grey hair or simply lose your hair, you've done so many things so many times, there's not all those new things anymore. So the perception changes.
Yes, we have here the concepts of internal time. So the people who answered that to know the time is just the same as I was when I was a child, think about the chronological time, the objective time, and the people who might answer yes, the time is different now than is past times, also is right, and think about more consciential time or internal time or psychological time that interested us a little bit more in this case, because also everybody will agree with me that the time, how half an hour, for instance, when you are in a romantic meeting, is completely different than you are on the, you know, the chair of the dentist, for instance, or the odontologist. Everybody will agree with me with that. But the thing is, the point is that in conscientiology, we have new horizons to investigate time. For instance, we can say, how is the unit of time? This is one of questions that you can put. What is the unit of time that is adequate, that is good for measure when you are talking about evolution of consciousness, for instance? What is the point, the measurement unit? Centuries, millennia? I don't know. This is a point that we can think about. Or the time doesn't make sense at all when you speak about consciousness, because we have parts of us that is immortal, that is our conscious, and part of us that is mortal. So another question you can put is how to deal with time, since we have part of us mortal and part of us immortal. How to deal with that? How can we make our tasks, make our evolution with that thing, with that in mind? So we can put another question. How can we deal with the relativity of time when you are here in our ordinary life and when we are out of our bodies? For instance, in a situation of projection of consciousness, that the time doesn't seem to pass at the same rate as it passed here. How can we deal with that? So there, in this field, there are a lot of more questions than answers. We are trying to put this in a new perspective, in a perspective that is inside the consciential paradigm. For instance, we know that we have some intraphysical period of time here in our lives, in our ordinary lives, but that doesn't happen all the time, because there are times that we are extraphysical. So another exercise that I could propose to you is to draw a line in a empty paper, in a white paper. Draw a line there, and in one side, in one point of the line, you can write your biological birth, for instance, and in the other extreme, you can put your biological death. You can do this exercise. It's a very simple exercise, but it's a very powerful exercise. Draw a line. In one extreme, you put your biological birth, and in the other, you put your biological death. And then now put an X in the exact point that you think you are now. Now you are hearing me. You are hearing me. Put an X in this line. it's a easy condition for you. It's an easy task for you. Probably you will say, "Oh, but I don't know. I don't have the faintest idea of how can I put that." But the condition, all the condition is a reality. You have some amount of time that you have to, make your mission here, your proexis, your existential program, and you have this is a resource that is, that has an end. It's not an infinite in this life. So you have all these things to put, and you can study the time also in conscientiology regarding the paraphenomenology of the things that are involved with time. For instance, the phenomenon, the phenomena that involves the time, like retrocognition, precognition, synchronicity. That is a very interesting phenomenon. That is, in fact, a paraphenomenon. And you can study this, but always putting the consciousness in the center of the process. This is a principle of the consciential paradigm. For instance, what all of this phenomenon can say to me, to my what this contributes to my evolutionary condition. For instance, when I experience a precognition, or when I experience a retrocognition, or a situation of synchronicity, what does this phenomenon contributes to my evolutionary condition, for instance, or for my evolution? This is a question that I can do, and also in the projection of the consciousness, when I'm out of my body, living in a situation that time doesn't seems to interfere, for instance, how can I deal with that? How can I can help this kind of situation to happen by putting off all the situation and all the ordinary life that I have that will not help me in this kind of situation. I don't know if I made myself clear. So I can put to you that in this 10 years, 12 years that I'm researching this theme inside the consciential paradigm, I had more questions now than I had when I started. I can assure you. But also, I had a level of depth in this kind of reflections that generated me, and I have some paraphenomena that happen all of this time. For instance, when you are studying some phenomena, you create a kind of aura of that phenomena that helps the phenomenon to happen. That is very interesting. In the precognition, for instance, I have this very well documented, not only with me, but with the students, the people who attended in my courses about this. Synchronicity is also a thing that is very interesting, because when you start to speak about synchronicity, the synchronicity is more obvious and more, I don't know, I'm researching this, but somehow the experience, I don't know if it's an internal condition to understand or to observe better than that, you are more conscious about that, or if you create conditions to that happen with your energies. I'm researching this, but the fact is that when you are researching this kind of phenomena, you are more susceptible to this phenomenon happen. Well, I can put my subjects here in many times, but I think 20 minutes it's enough to see what kind of subjects and what kind of questions we can put in conscientiology regarding time and regarding the phenomenon and all the paraphenomenology that is involving with time. And the most important thing that how this study will help to understand myself, to understand how my consciousness works, and how my consciousness evolve or evolve that is what I call the revolution or evolutionary time. And one thing that I can say to you also is that opportunity of evolution, it seems answering to that question that I put in the beginning of the conference, that which is the best measurement unit for the consciousness for time, is that opportunity is a very interesting thing that we can think to do that whole. Well, in general line, is that what I want to talk to you? I don't know if you have any questions. I'm okay to talk about this, and I will give you in the conference, the panel. I will give you my email if I can interact with you by that. If you don't have the questions right now, but are interested in that subject, I could help you, and I would appreciate if you also could send me to help my research with time anything that you think that is interesting regarding consciousness and time. I will ask you the help for that, especially now in this international moment of expansion, like a Project Bright and everything that could have. Okay, that's it.
I got a question. Can you tell us about this? You know how we say in relation to some dimensions and things, time doesn't exist. There is no time, no past, no future. What's your view or your thoughts about that idea?
That's a very good question, and we know intellectually we know that kind of dimension exists. That is mental dimension, or the dimension of mental soma. But we have little experience in that. Only people who has projections of mental soma or double projections that tell us what the kind of a perception and thing. And most of them has the description that is something like that. Wow, that is impossible to describe. It's very difficult to describe in words. So also it's very difficult to research this. I think the only way that we can research this kind of dimension is to be in there, to whatever this means, to be there, but to experience that and to understand that time, in fact, like some researchers say to us, that time doesn't exist. What exists is perception of time. There is a researcher that is called Julian Barbour. Julian Barbour is a Scottish cosmologist, that propose that time doesn't exist. What exists is the perception of time. Time is like he made us an analogy that like we are in movement, but what seems to be in movement is the sky, but the sky is still. It's exactly with the time. Time is still, and we have the perception that he is flowing. That's a very interesting idea, and I think, but it's a theory, it's a perception or an idea, like many others. The fact is that we have more questions, like I said to you, we have more questions than answers in this field, which is very intriguing, and it's very interesting for us to dedicate a field like this. We have an open field to research and to have new experiences, because it has to be practical. We have to not just to be theorizing that, but gaining experience and trying to practice all things. In my courses, I like to say that we don't have to study the theory of relativity of time. We have to do the practical of relativity of time, or the practice of the relativity of time, by doing our consciousness and phenomena and our out-of-body experiences. This is to understand the deepest concepts of time, I think. I don't know if I answer you, Jeff, but I don't have the idea and I don't have the experience yet, but I will have soon, I think.
No, you did, mate.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Ulisses.
Amaury, about the future, about precognitions. I was thinking, what do you think that there is a kind of, it's a kind of contact with reality in the future, or it is a kind of contact with other consciousness who plan the future? For instance, when we have a precognition, you understand the difference?
Yes, yes, I understand.
We are in a kind of telepathic contact with other consciousness who plans the future, who works to the future, or we are able to have a kind of direct contact with reality, the future. Yes. Do you have some opinion, or what do you think about it?
Yes, yes.
I'm thinking about Nostradamus, for instance. I'm thinking about Nostradamus.
It's a very interesting question. It's a deep question, and I have, fortunately, I have some experience to deal with that. I can, and it's interesting. In my course, I created an exercise for the students, the people to practice the precognition. How was that exercise? How is that exercise? I have a story that I start in the beginning of the course. I tell the students a story, but a story with an open end. An open end, and I don't know how you say it in English, but it's a double blind that I pick up an end, that I don't know which end is from many ends possible, and then I put in a closed envelope, and at the end of the course we open the envelope and see which is the possible end for that story so I don't know which is the end. I'm telling the story to the students, but I don't know the end of story also. I do that because I don't want to to mix the phenomenon, for instance, telepathy with precognition. I would like to say, or to see which the skills.
Okay. In this situation, just
yes.
1 second, Amaury. In this situation, you planned different ends. You see?
Yeah, that's
you had
it.
a plan.
That's it. There is different ends, but many ends. But I don't know in that case what will be. It's a you know, I'm trying not to contaminate, but I know that it's impossible to 100% don't contaminate that experience. But the interesting thing is that some people manage to see the end, but in different ways. That is what is more interesting of all. For instance, some people, when we work with the bioenergies and try to access the future and see what the end is, some people, some students see me telling the end of the story. Another students, they see like they are seeing a movie with the end of story. So the both things and many other things, some people see things is not related with the story, but that happened during the course. For instance, people says that and we are. I ask them to write down what they see or what they capturate in with their consciousness, but they at the end they will read for the entire class, and there are many categories of precognition. So the answer for your original question is both things that you are considering happens, both things happens, and other things happens that points to me that precognition is a very complex phenomenon, you know, and this happen. You see the real situation. You can see the real situation. You can see or you can be in touch with consciousness, an astrophysical helper, for instance, that sees what happens. So you see by second hand, like you could say that, and you have many other things that are involved in this. I don't know if I answered to you, but this is the general idea.
About
yes.
it, can I speak something? I was thinking is that there are no phenomena that are separated. Only didactically you can isolate a phenomenon and discuss about it and study it. But a phenomenon like precognition or retrocognition, for that matter, involves a number of other parapsychic phenomena, and it's linked with, for instance, insights, telepathy, can be linked with projection of consciousness, can happen at any different time of the night or the day. So in this case, so there are a number of things that play a part in that phenomenon as well. And I think that from a practical point of view, it is useful that we generate always opportunities of allowing people or students in courses to try to actually get more precognition, try to have more projection by the mental soma, try to have more precognition, try to have more retrocognition, apply more those techniques even within courses. So that will help us develop a number of things, not just the students, for us that are researching the phenomena, we will also have more data.
I agree with you. I agree totally with you. And I think exactly what we have to do, to make the conditions, create courses and laboratories. For instance, I think that we don't have yet the precognition laboratory, but will be a very interesting laboratory for us to create this aura, to see, because with my practice, I can say that we can create conditions for people in general has precognitions. Excuse me. But I agree with you that there are many things involved in. There's only a division that is didactic.
Regina, did you want to ask a question before?
Yes, I just wanted to share something with the group. Can I?
Sure, go ahead.
It's Thais talking, okay? Because I am not with the camera. I will try to talk in English, but if I have difficulty, I will ask for help. I had this experience in this life at time. It always, I have trouble with time because I feel that after I had some problem with my health and with my way of thinking, way of doing things, I have much less time than I had before. When I took that exercise, Amaury, that you told us to do, I put my X behind the end. And I thought, oh, I have
behind
40.
the end?
Yes, very like. Let me see if I can turn on my screen. How can I do that? Because I wanted to show you where my X is. Let me see.
Understand.
On the left, on the left-hand side, you can activate your video, Thais. Left-hand side in the corner. Video on.
Video on. Oh yes, now it's on.
Yeah, the camera symbol and click it.
Yes, but now it's on because I put. Or no?
I can't see you right now.
Okay.
But
no
I
problem.
understand. I understand what you talk. Your interest is. Oh, now I see.
Now we can see you. We can see you.
Yes. Oh, my ex. Can you see?
I think you ought to share your screen, not enable your video. Is that right?
No, she wants to show the paper in the video.
Yes, just the paper.
Yeah.
Now I wanted to. Yes.
She just showed it.
So, yes, but the point is that.
Why you did that? You are because your health, like you said, you have a problem.
Yes, I thought I thought in that time that I had 8 years of problems, and I took a very long time to discover these problems and to take care. And this was very traumatic, né? And I thought I was going to die, né? And then since that time, né, I take very seriously, né, my life, and I really feel that my life before this happened, né, I thought that I was a person with a lot of energy and with a lot of time to live, and my family in genetic thinking about genetic, né, I have this perspective, né, all of my family live longer, né. But after these episodes, né, I feel that I don't have this time anymore. Né, I don't have this, and for me, assim, it's assim, it's a challenge, né, now to pick the priorities, to do things, feeling that I don't have so many time. I have assim, a lot of less time than so assim, this is the point, né? How do you feel about it? how it was the exercise with you? How do you think?
It's like you are permanently doing the technique that is in 700 experiments. One more year of intraphysical life. Is not that?
Yes.
You
yes.
know that.
It seems like.
You can think that. Either you have a health issue or not. It's interesting to apply that. That was a technique, 1 year of intraphysical life, that is useful for us all of us, because exactly put the opportunity, put the idea of productivity of time that is more interesting when you think about evolution, consciousness evolution. So you can do your things or make your priorities, do things that you consider more important. If you know that you have a resource that has an end, not just time. Every resource we have here in for physical life has an end. We don't have air has an end, water has an end. Everything is now we know with every resource we have to use it wisdom, a productive way. That is my
The audio was a little interrupt, but I think the point that I was going to share with you that at the same time I had this other heterocognition in a therapist session that I waste a lot of time or a lot of lives stuck in emotion because of deception that I had before. Mm-hmm. And I am in this point in this life now. I am remember, I don't know how to say, or assim, vivendo novamente. I am. Can you help me?
Yeah, recalling.
How can I translate?
Recalling.
Yes, I am recalling this. Yes,
reliving
because
as well.
Okay. Because I have to pass through, I have to overcome this, and I would like to, I would like some help of you, né? How can a consciousness can overcome some emotions that, como é que fala, fazem a parar, paralyze her, or paralyze this consciousness, instead to, né,
yes,
to go ahead.
Yeah, it's important in this case to understand that we have, as consciousness, we have different relations with different times. For instance, we can have a relation with our past, we can have a relation with our present, and we can have a relation with our future. Different kinds of relations. For instance, with your past, you can be in a very good mood with your past, or you have good memories, you have no regrets. Just make a healthier condition than a person who has a bad relation with her past. So, that's some kind of trauma. For instance, make a difference between the word regret and the word health.
Amaury, cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
What?
We hear you very silently, Amaury.
I cannot.
Very silently. Can you speak closer to the microphone?
All right.
Regret thing, guilt another thing, and they are completely different. Make a different relation between you and your past. You can be stuck in regret, but regret makes you learn things and don't repeat that in the future. And guilt didn't do that. Guilt is a completely thing different. It's some kind of near conception, but it will make a difference. So you will have to be in charge, make a healthier condition to qualify your emotions regarding the time. So you will have to revisit your past in order to make guilt disappear, for instance, and just to use the concept of regret, for instance. And you can do that for all kind of relations with time present. Let's see the relation that you have with your future. If you have a bad relation with your future, for instance, you have anxiety. And if you had a good relation with your future, you have planning. So anxiety is a diffuse fear, or a fear of things that will happen and you will have no control about that. But planning is in a way, is to make your future to happen. This is a healthier condition for you. I don't know if this help you, but
It was very
it's like
good.
I have a question.
Thanks,
sorry
Amaury.
for my
Thanks.
poor English.
Excuse me, guys, sorry. We're coming to our end. So the question is, do you want to have a few minutes overtime? Is that okay for you guys? Because I would like to still ask for Regina her question, which she tried to ask since the beginning of the debate, but there are problems with the mic. For everyone else who still had questions, please feel free to send your questions to Amaury directly or to the Bridge email address, so we can continue all the debate there, if that is okay for everyone.
Yes.
So I will just quickly read.
I want to tell something for Ulisses. Shall I put the question also to the Bridge, and you give it to him?
Yes, that would be great, Elka, because,
Okay.
or maybe if you want still here to be connected a few minutes after the meeting, but we still plan to have a 10 minutes energy exercise. So if you want to stay after the meeting, maybe you can do it here if it's short, or you just send an email
To
the Bridge. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, Regina's question, which is very interesting. She writes, I wanted to ask about laboratories. I was lucky to do an experiment in the Serenarium this year, and I realized that I perceived time different there. My hypothesis is that staying there is like being in another dimension, manifesting more extraphysically. Did you do any experiments in this laboratory or other laboratories, Amaury?
Yes, I have some experiences that make me the clear or give me the clear impression that times doesn't flow the exact way that in an ordinary life. And this this is true happens. For instance, when you are in, I experienced some very interesting things that breaks our natural perception of time. But this situation that Regina is evoking, that real it happens. Some in some dimensions or in some situations, the time doesn't flow the exact way that we have here in the ordinary life or in the intraphysical dimension. That is a very thing, very many people has experienced these situations, and out of body situations there is experience that we have here also researched that people goes to a dimension, stay there for a very long period, for instance, and when he come back, when he wake up, it seems to be just a few minutes, for instance. A real perception. Time in some dimensions doesn't flow the exact. And like Jeffrey was saying when he asked, in some dimension, time doesn't exist at all. This happens also. So depending on dimension you are, time seems not exist at all.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is everything clear, Regina? About your question? Great. So if it's okay for you guys, I would make 10 minutes over time for energy exercise. I think it's very important. Is that okay for everyone? Yes? Okay, great. So please mute your microphones. If you don't mute them, I will mute them. That's a threat. For us to guarantee peaceful exercise. Great, I see everything muted. Perfect. So please make yourself comfortable in your chair. Dim the lights if you want. Relax yourself. Relax your body. After very interesting discussions, we're going to put our bodies on standby for a little while. Relax your legs, your arms, all your muscles, also your face. Take a few deep breaths. And then start concentrating on your energies, on your energetic body. Switch your attention from your physical body to your energetic body. Try to perceive the condition of your energetic body. And then start accumulating energies on the top of your head. Accumulate as much energy as you can with your will and your decision. Try to consciously perceive that accumulation of energies. And then in your own speed, in your own rhythm, move the energies through all your body to your feet. Scan your whole energosoma. And once you reach your feet, You return the movement and move the energies to the top of your head. And in your own rhythm, continue this movement. Let the energy flow through every cell of your body. And in your own time, in your own rhythm, accelerate that movement of energies. Accelerate the movement in your own rhythm, faster and faster, until you install a vibrational state. Use your will to install a strong vibrational state. Once you have installed the vibrational state, perceive its quality and any sensations that you might have. You can control these whenever. Stay relaxed but focused. And then we start absorbing energies from the field of the bridge project of the international universalistic field of energies that we have installed throughout this meeting. Try to connect with the helpers and the extra physical consciousnesses involved in this project that have been with us. Pay attention to any ideas or insights you might get. Stay lucid. Now slowly stop this movement and we invert the process. Start exteriorizing your energies from your whole energosoma. Exteriorize as much energy as you can. Expand the exteriorization to your room. And after that, to your house. Fill it with your energies. Increase the exercisation and the amount of energies to your street, to your city, to your country, to your continent, reach out with your energies to the other participants, and eventually to the whole planet. Stay lucid. Keep up the exercisation of energies. Try to perceive the connection between us. Try to perceive the connection we have in the assistance we are doing on our individual part of the planet and how that is connected. We might be alone in our country or in our city, but we're never really alone. Connect with the helpers. Embrace the whole planet with your energies and the network we create. Now slowly stop this movement. Stay relaxed. And make mental notes of all your perceptions, all your insights and ideas. Then slowly take a deep breath. Connect again to your physical body. Make small movements. Turn on the lights if you dare. Great, I see movement. Is everyone okay? Yes, great. See the thumbs and smiley faces, that's great. Welcome back on planet Earth. So I know we're over time, but I would still like to give a few minutes if someone wants to make a comment of the experiences you had.
I would like to say that it was a very interesting opportunity, and I am available, and I would like to participate in the next phases of the bridge project. Thank you for all.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amaury, for your time and sharing your research with you. It was very interesting.
I would like.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank everybody, and I think this project is really a great project, and I hope we can do more things together, work together, and move each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Liliana.
And congratulations, Melanie. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good on you.
Thank you. 50 minutes over time. I have to try harder next time. Anyone else would like to share experiences that you had during the exercises or anything?
Oh, just to say that I look forward for the next meeting. I'm really happy with all the results, and I particularly felt strongly connected with Ulisses. I'm an urban planner, so I will send you some notes by email, and hope to see you all again.
Great, thank you so much, Yola.
Group, I'd like to share. Everyone who is listening.
Yes, we hear you guys. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I'd like to share that today was more calm, and I don't know if I can say light. The field, the energy, I felt more soft because in the last meeting, even it was very, interesting. Before the meeting, I felt the energies was more dense. I don't know, was more strong. And today I thought it was more soft and more calm. And I had a very good insight during the exercise, so it was very good for me. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for the interexistential of this group and this project. And Melanie, you were excellent with it in this condition, in the conciliating our discussion. I think it was a very good trait of you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Thais. Thank you for also sharing your experience with us.
I also want to say only shortly that I felt very good energies. I liked it very much. And I saw a lot of fog in front of me, something like dust. Maybe it had something to do with the energy floating. I don't know. It was very intense. And thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Elke. So I think that was it. Thank you so much for being present in the meeting. It was hopefully for you as interesting as it was for me. And just a short comment before the other participants leave, that if someone is interested to share his or her research with a broader public or with more other researchers in the Projectiology community, Paolo and me had the idea that maybe we could make short 2-minute, 3-minute videos that, for example, if Ulisses is talking about his work, he could have a 2-minute video explaining the basics of what he is doing, you know, and then we could create an own YouTube channel and could upload those short videos. They would be in English, and we can add subtitles to that. So each one of us, if you're interested in a specific topic, researching a specific topic, maybe we could introduce that topic to a broader public in these short videos and share them with each other. So if anyone is interested to participate in this, please send us an email to thebridge@reprendencia.org, and we will get in contact with you to help you record the video, prepare the video. So we will be there in every step of the process. So that was all. Sorry for being over time. It was my first time as a moderator. I will be better next time, I promise. So thank you all, and have a nice Sunday.
Congratulations, you are very
good. Thank you. Thank you, Amaury.
Yeah,
See you next
Melanie,
time. Yes?
May I add a comment?
Please.
A quick comment, guys. I just would like to thank you all for participating in the second meeting of the bridge. And a special thanks to Ulisses and Amaury for sharing with us their research. And we hope to see you all in our next meeting in October. We don't have a date scaled yet, but as soon as we have it, we will let you know. Okay? Thank you all. We see. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.